This is Local 22 News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Caterina. Littleton, New Hampshire, Saranac Lake, New York, Manchester, Vermont. They're just a few of the places nationwide with rallies taking place, calling on lawmakers to pass gun control reforms. Local 22's Sam Israel shows us another rally in Montpelier.
March for Our Lives protests have been taking place all over the country, and earlier today, hundreds of Vermonters gathered at the State House demanding change. Kids, teachers, parents. The recent mass shootings around the nation have Vermonters frustrated.
We're here because we want to be able to learn and not to be scared of shooting.
Wake up, America. People are dying.
A classroom where children once played with their friends, listened to their teachers, sang songs, told stories, and recited their ABCs became a battleground and a bloodbath.
Kids say the recent shootings have left them scarred. They can't even think about school.
Eating lunch with my friends and someone bangs on like the top of a door and seeing my friends flinch because of someone banging on something.
Opponents of Burlington's Champlain Parkway project protest against it again in the city's south end. This project would create a two-lane, 25-mile-per-hour road connecting the south end with downtown. Supporters say the project would ease traffic downtown, but protesters say the new road would be disproportionately affecting Burlingtonians with lower incomes.
You don't do a project, whether it's a road project, build a factory, a dam, or whatever. You don't put it in the low-income neighborhood just because it's easier to do, and that's the way things used to be. The law says you don't do that, but it's totally against what's called the principle of environmental justice, and when we do it, it will not make that neighborhood better in any way.
A lawsuit was filed several months ago to halt the project. Despite that, proponents are optimistic that construction will start this summer and be complete 5 years from now. Well, the Burlington Discover Jazz Festival is winding down its 39th year, but its first year of free shows at Waterfront Park. Grammy-winning funk legend George Clinton played Friday night. Tonight's lineup included Moenso and the Shakes. The pandemic canceled the festival 2 years ago. It did run last year, but not at full capacity.
But to perform on the stage today is something we're truly excited about.
It's just an explosion of music and celebration and community, and we're really proud of it at the Flynn that we're able to do this and provide access to free music for everybody.
Well, the festival concludes with saxophonist Joshua Redman. He takes the stage at the Flynn at 7 tomorrow night. Once again tonight, all 3 states that span our coverage area have all-time record high gas prices. That's according to AAA. Vermont's average of $5.05 is up 2 cents from yesterday. The highest prices are in Franklin County, New York, and New Hampshire are both up a penny. The Empire State to $5.03, even with the 18-cent gas tax suspended, and the Granite State up to $4.99. Here's where Gas Buddy says the cheapest prices are. It's $4.79 at a Citgo station on North Pleasant Street in Middlebury. Sam's Club at Consumer Square in Plattsburgh is selling at $4.89, and an Irving station in Ashland, New Hampshire is at $4.79. Well, hopes that the trend of rising inflation might be petering out seem to have been dashed for now. Consumer prices in May were more than 8.5% higher than they'd been a year earlier. David Spunt's got the latest from Washington.
A rough week on Wall Street. The Dow Jones fell 880 points after a key inflation report found prices rose 8.6% in May compared to last year. That's the highest level in more than 4 decades. Rising prices are hitting American consumers at the grocery store and at the pump. The cost of eggs increased more than 32%. Meat, fish, and milk are also up. President Biden says fighting inflation is his top economic priority. He's placing the blame largely on Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We've never seen anything like Putin's tax on both food and gas.
Because the May consumer...
You'll likely remember former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He was one of the main lawyers arguing President Donald Trump's failed cases to overturn the 2020 election. Now Giuliani's got to answer to professional ethics charges. The disciplinary branch of the District of Columbia Bar alleges that he promoted unsubstantiated voter fraud claims in Pennsylvania. Giuliani's got 20 days to respond. A longtime New Hampshire juvenile parole officer has pled guilty to possessing child porn and trying to send a sexually explicit photo to a child. Jason Ellis of Derry will be sentenced in September. He was fired from his juvenile parole job in February. Ellis also worked at New Hampshire state-run youth detention center and has been accused in a lawsuit of abusing a teenage boy there. While in the war in Ukraine, residents of a city near the country's northwestern border are returning to their hometown following a siege by Russian troops. Mike Tobin shows us what they're coming back to.
In Chernihiv, near the border with Belarus, the freshly dead have at least the dignity of individual graves. Woodland was cleared for the new burials. Only 42 graves fly the Ukrainian flag that identify the dead as soldiers. The gravedigger says 946 of them hold civilians killed by the Russian army. One is Anatoly Breduk, brother of Vladimir Breduk.
Young boys, children, and women died. There is nothing to talk about. The Russians must be destroyed.
Inna Levchenko is a school principal. In the early days of the invasion.
Coming up, triple-digit temperatures are expected throughout the weekend from California to Texas, where there's concern the Lone Star State's power grid could be pushed to the limits.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News.